as many people know that Charlie Kirk has been assassinated. And I noticed when I got the news, I was like, what the fuck? And then knowing that his wife and his kids were sitting there as well. They were there when it happened, right? And that feeling also made me go into tears. Also, when you're feeling that it was the right thing that he was killed, the feeling is okay. The thought is okay. Don't judge it for having it. Just observe where it's coming from. Like what Albert Einstein said, if the field is the sole governing agent of the particle, and in the field, let's say, is energy, to give it a name, then if the energy of something has a specific intention, which is hatred, then that's influencing the particle, and you're creating more of that in matter. Machicho Martin? It's my new word, machicho.
Is it?
Yeah.
Machicho.
Machicho. I say it a lot to Noah. Machicho.
Really?
Yeah. My little machicho. Hey, machicho, what are you doing now? Where are you going now?
Cute. That is cute.
A little bit of a combination in like some kind of Spanish and the Dutch word maatje, mate.
Ah.
Chicho. It's also really fun to just see how he now responds, Maybe he's in the other side of the room. I'm sitting on the dinner table and he's laying somewhere on the floor just exploring the space because he's crawling around quite a lot right now. And then suddenly there's this like, I say like, hey, Noah, ben je doen? What are you doing? What are you doing? And then he's like on the ground and he like looks up at you and then he starts like smiling. And if he's on the potty, for example, and you walk in and he sees you, then he's like a little dog. He starts like shaking his legs up and down, like as if it's like a tail wagging, It's super cute.
That is cute.
Definitely.
That is very cute. That's wow. That's like golden retriever vibe. Like
yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Oh my! Your eyes, they glunder up, when like they spark immediately when you talk about your son. It's like no, it's not even possible to deny how much you love your son. Like damn, I just saw like some starlit eyes going on there. Nice, man. Good on you, brother.
No, it's interesting. Last night I had a dream about him somehow being turned into like a panther or something, and it was very dangerous. And then in order to turn him back, but it wasn't like he was looking like a panther, but he had the energy of a panther, and he had like dark eyes, and like the white part of the eyes was completely dark. And then we needed to save him, kind of. And in order to save him, I needed to put a knife in the back of his head, and then I was like, wait, but that doesn't make sense because maybe I'll kill him then. But then somehow I was convinced about the fact that that's the right thing to do.
Wow.
And so I did, and it was eventually the right thing to do, but it made me feel so much like of this fear, I guess, of losing him as well,
Yeah, you felt that?
Yeah, and this is maybe also why the topic that I wanted to introduce as well maybe somehow touches me so much, right? Like, as many people know that Charlie Kirk has been assassinated, and in the past when I've seen certain people that were killed or assassinated or something, it was something very distant from me, and so it didn't really emotionally touch me whatsoever. And somehow with Charlie, it was something completely different. I noticed when I got the news, I was like, what the fuck? And I had seen some of his debates before on YouTube, and it helped me also to figure out what I'm believing. Some things that he says I believe as well, some things I don't. But it helped me to just get a perspective on things and how to understand things. And then suddenly that he was killed, and then of course I saw the video of that, and that's also terrible. And then knowing that his wife and his kids were sitting there as well. They were there when it happened, right? So they got to see that, like, and that feeling somehow also made me go into tears. And then the feeling of like, well, I would want to be there for my son, and I don't want to lose him. So there's definitely an extra layer, and I think that parents around can probably acknowledge that an extra layer of the importance of staying alive, and also the importance of taking care of your family just increases once you get children. That's something that I truly felt. And Yeah, just to go on to this topic, I do think right now it's something that's very present regarding Charlie Kirk. I was shocked by the responses that people gave. Truly, truly shocked. And that shock just to for the people that don't know, there were responses of people saying that it's a good thing that he got killed. And regardless of what someone thinks about his beliefs and his opinions, if you decide to condone killing for someone sharing their opinions, then you're dabbling in freedom of speech and you're taking that out. And I think it is such an important thing. But on an even deeper layer, if people think that killing someone who's having a certain perspective is actually helping, that's where I'm like, oh my God, then. And that's why the heart of being human for me is the podcast is about this ability to go deeper into deeper layers of existence and to realize that no, it's really about getting more into a state of love and appreciation and care and compassion. And so I noticed a fire went inside of me when I saw these people reacting with like, yeah, it's a good thing that he was killed and he shouldn't have said all these things that he said. And not a fire of anger or resentment, but a fire of compassion for their ignorance. Because as soon as you are having this kind of a reaction towards something outside of you, you're actually having that reaction inside of you as well. You're the one actually that's hurting from that. The pain goes inwards. It's something inside of you. And I truly believe, and we had an episode also about ayahuasca, of course, and it is something that has been so important in my life, this plant medicine. Why? Because I got to realize on a deeper layer that we are all one, that we are all connected, that eventually what happens inside of us is being reflected outside of us. And so I fully believe that if we want to change the reality around us, it's not by like fighting and like killing and all these things, but it's by changing something within us and making ourselves more compassionate, more loving, more open, being able to, of course, we can feel the anger, we can feel the sadness or whatever that someone creates by having their opinions, but then to be able to, of course, have the dialogue with someone, that's completely fine. But to realize that the emotions that are behind it, when someone has a certain perspective and we feel something about it, that's ours. That's ours for us to do something with. And I don't believe that anything good can come out of reacting from anger or react because you just create more of it.
You mean like due to the assassination? To make such a choice?
That someone chooses to do the assassination, yes. But then also that people prescribe to that or say that it's a good thing that it happened, meaning they condone it and they say it's good and it should be there. And then I feel like, okay, well, instead of reacting like that, what if you notice you might have the thought inside of you that says, oh, I actually feel somehow it's good. Oh, wow, interesting. So I feel it's good that someone is being killed for the perspectives and the opinions that they have. What does that actually mean inside of me? Why do I have that anger or resentment inside of me so strongly that I feel that? Because the thought could come up, but then to speak it out and to express it like that, I think then you're already past consciousness. Because if you're staying in your awareness and you notice yourself reacting like that, it's like, okay, I'm having a reaction. I also have the reaction sometimes. If Noah is crying, then I can also sometimes have the thought of like, can he just fucking shut up, you know? And I get a little bit of an angry feeling inside of me. I don't do anything with that angry feeling though. I just have it and I observe it and I allow it to pass through me. And I understand that he is also just expressing something and I'm just feeling frustration that I don't understand him. And that's why I process through that emotion basically, so that I can let it go again. And then I notice usually I can also be more present with him. And funnily enough, when I've processed through it, often on, for example, a night that I'm bringing him to bed and it takes a bit of time before he's sleeping, then I'm laying next to him and I feel this anger and this frustration maybe thoughts come of like, I still wanted to do all these other things that I don't get done because he's taking so much time, that I just like, okay, time to slow down, Ruben. Time to slow down. Can you just be present here right now with him here? Just allow everything that his crying is touching inside of you to just completely be there. Just let it touch you. Just let it touch you. Okay, and just breathing in and out more intensely usually helps me to create more awareness, to observe better what I'm actually experiencing without reacting on it. And then I come to a point where I can really stay in stillness with it. And I calm my system down again, and I can be there. And then the reflection is that he also calms down, and he usually is able to sleep better. And that's just a small example, but I think it really applies to this as well, that with everything that we're noticing, I'm just feeling a lot of feeling of like, my fire inside of me is right now like, there's just a lot of people that I can still help, and that could be more in connection to their heart.
How do you mean help?
Help in the sense that when you are feeling so much anger and you think that it's a right thing that someone got killed for their opinions, help in the sense of understanding that you're just reacting on your emotions instead of learning to observe them and heal them. Because eventually it's somehow just a reaction that comes again from some kind of a past experience, not just related to this, but also something in the past that you experienced that is just brought up again. And then the question is always, when a trigger comes up, right? Someone pushes a button, and then we can choose to trigger and react on what they pushed in us, or we can choose to observe and see whatever happened inside of us.
When such an action comes from whatever movement it is, if you decide to not only kill another man's opinion, but actually kill the man itself, then you're supporting something way worse, like there underneath, that the thought of whenever something is not to my liking, when it comes to either patterns or when it comes to feelings, or as you said, previous circumstances or situations that you experienced, then it's okay to kill it off. Like, so this is society. Apparently, you cannot go in a dialogue, or you cannot share each other's opinion, even though they can be very different from each other. Well, it's actually very interesting to learn from the difference of opinions, right? It's just an opinion. It's tough, man. But I mean, so this is Charlie Kirk. Was not so long ago. It's also been in the news for quite some, a lot of news bulletins actually. Was the Ukrainian girl, Irina Kurshova, something like that, who just got stabbed randomly in the subway. And people think it's just a hate crime, just because she's a white girl. She enters the subway there, and I don't mean to say that it is the situation, but the factual situation is there were only black people at that moment in this subway, in the part where she decided to sit. And then all of a sudden, behind her, some guy, I saw the footage, it's horrifying. Some guy decides to grab something sharp, I guess, and then he just stabbed her from behind like that, like 8 times or something. And then you can see the response, the girl's response, and she responds from adrenaline, I'm pretty sure. She's crying, she's like folding herself up, and then in a few seconds she falls down. So these things, I mean, it's different from the situation that you...
No, but it's very understand what you're saying. The underlying thing that's the important thing. The underlying, if we talked about it in the previous podcast, if the field, like what Albert Einstein said, if the field is the sole governing agent of the particle, and in the field, let's say, is energy, to give it a name, then if the energy of something has a specific intention, which is hatred, then that's influencing the particle, and you're creating more of that in matter. You're creating more. And this, if someone is listening to this and does not get anything of what I'm saying, that's why I feel so much of this purpose and passion to hold more ayahuasca ceremonies and also to speak out more, even if it is not always everywhere where you can do it. It's legal, because through an experience like that, I have learned that energy is everything, and that if we want to solve something outside of us, then it starts inside of us. And if that would be more of a baseline for everyone, and oh my God, how amazing would it be if I could have all sorts of political leaders going through a ceremony like that? It would completely shift the way that they would communicate. If I sometimes look at what happens also during debates that I've seen in the second chamber, like the Dutch government having conversations, is like chicken, like like a chicken hen or something that are like fighting each other. It's the consciousness is not there to
It's
understand
childish.
that if you're constantly fighting, you're creating more of it. And that's what I came down to when I saw this all happen and I looked into it further. I'm like, okay, that's what I'm getting out of it, And I think that eventually that's maybe the important thing, that he is a martyr for something that we can get out of it. And I hope that what we get out of it is not that people start then fighting more, but it's probably also going to happen, right? That now the let's say, quote unquote, the right is going to be really like, oh my God, and now we have to fight back and we have to do all sorts of things against them, and instead of being able to change it around. And yeah, I think that I think that I was
that's such a rough spot, man. I mean, because once something like this occurred or happens, I mean, let's put it in retro perspective, right? So let's say your sister or my sister, she has an opinion, someone doesn't like her opinion, and they kill her, right? What would be the first thing going on in your own head?
Yeah, fucking kill the motherfucker.
Fucking
of
kill
course.
the motherfucker, right?
Of course, but I wouldn't.
Okay.
So right. This is this allowism, this belief that I've kind of received and I've talked about also during one of the podcasts, where you need to be able to allow every thought and feeling, in the sense of allowing it to be there, not judging yourself for thinking or feeling it, because as soon as you judge it, it becomes the shadow. It goes into the dark, right? And then it becomes, and then it's like it festers because you're trying to avoid it. You're judging it. You're pushing it somehow away, or you're fully identifying with it and you're reacting, or you're going into it and you're doing the thing that your thought is telling you. If we have this ability to just be able to be there when we observe that our thoughts and our feelings are in an emotion that we do not want to see more of in the world, and we have that ability, then we can see those thoughts and we can feel those feelings, and I can in that moment also really just feel like, motherfucker, what did he do? And he killed, and I would not go for a hunt to find this guy and kill him. I would probably, after some time of just being angry, have a process about being able to release that anger through maybe, I use this exercise of screaming in a pillow or hitting a pillow and just needing to transmute that anger. And then maybe after I've transmuted that anger, I've really felt through it, there might be something like an inspiration that comes, like, it's really important to educate people that killing is not the right thing, or that we create a more safe environment, or whatever the inspiration is that follows through out of it. But that inspiration can only come from like a good frequency. It's like when we know that when we react on a specific feeling, it's a much lower frequency than inspiration. Inspiration is like, I'm connected, I'm open, I can receive from something higher, and then it can flow through me. If we think that inspiration is to kill someone, no, that can't be inspiration. That's not the basis of what our reality is. Because, and this is of course going into the topic of, are people fundamentally bad or good? No, I believe that fundamentally we are good. Why? Because when we're doing bad things, even if on the short term it feels good, even if we have like addictions or we say something negative towards someone, on the short term, in that moment, it might actually feel good to just say that. on the long term we won't feel better. And I think that needs to be the guiding light in our lives, that we realize what on the long term makes me happy. It's love, it's happiness, it's connecting, it's being, it's following our joy and our bliss, and it's not reacting on anger or sadness or whatever. It's transmuting that.
Yeah. Yeah. So in order to stop the cycle, you have to become what? Like a pacifist yourself.
What do you mean with a pacifist?
Wasn't that the word for it?
I just want to know
Peacekeeper.
what you mean with it so that we have clarity on
Like
it.
peacekeeper, right?
Yeah.
Like so you so maybe, you experience that, okay. And then you have all this anger, you channel it, you transmute it, and then you as one person are able to stop that cycle. Okay. So that's one cycle that's being stopped, right? Maybe there's a big ripple effect. Could be, right? I mean, that's how energy goes. It grows, right?
Mm-hmm.
The more attention you give, the more it grows. So whatever side that's going, it will grow that side. So it will expand in love and in bliss and in forgiveness and, all that. That's you, that's one. Sometimes I really fear for society when I see how immediately, like how fast society responds and how fast they, like how the process is of, okay, this happened, now we need to answer back, like this retaliation, right?
And I think we can see it in ourselves, because when we have a behavior in ourselves that we don't like, we judge ourselves that we do that. And
Yeah.
then we might punish ourselves by completely trying to take away that behavior. So, for example, you're saying, I'm going to be, you have an addiction of some kind of a food or some kind of a drug or some kind of watching Netflix. And then you're judging yourself for it. You're making yourself small. And then you say to yourself, I can't do this anymore. But then based on this willpower, we're trying to change something that's inside of us, not changed yet. So we can hold it as long as we can hold the willpower. And then at one point we revert back again. When something negative happens in our lives, we suddenly revert back again to the old habit because we haven't actually changed inside of us. That's like the same thing. You're reacting on something and then changing something or doing something outside the world, whilst actually the actual change is, hey, let me be curious. Why am I doing this? What's behind it? What wants to be seen inside of me? Can I just fully be present with that? Which, by the way, isn't at all per se easy. And that's why I think learning to be more present, learning to grow your consciousness and awareness are very important steps to take for human beings overall, for everyone.
Absolutely.
So that we can learn to at one point come to a point where we can fully release the judgment. And with releasing the judgment also often already comes that we can not do the negative behavior that we judged before so much, and that we shift into something else. But it's not the most logical, because in the beginning you think, well, if I'm doing something that I don't think is the right thing, I'm starting to do something else. And on the surface that makes sense, but if that thing that you're doing out of a deeper layer inside of you, a deeper trauma inside of you, then you can't just start doing something else, or you can only start doing something else temporarily, and then it reverts itself back again.
It's a big conflict.
It's a conflict. Actually, the conflict is all about inside of us. Because I have the root of anger, because I have the root of resentment towards people. Like you said, if my sister gets killed, I'll get angry and I want to kill the guy as well. Because I have that inside of me, I can see it outside of me as well. Did we talk about Ho'oponopono in another podcast episode?
Ho'oponopono?
I don't think so, right? Do you know it?
Tell me.
No. So, very fascinating. There was a man in Hawaii, and he was a doctor and a very learned guy. And at one point he was asked by a psychiatric institution to come there and to help the people get better, because even the people working there were going crazy, because there was such a crazy energy there, so many crazy people, and it was just getting bigger and bigger. They couldn't find any more people. to work there and to help the people. And they found him, and they heard about something that he does to help people. So they said, "Can you actually come to our institution and help?" And he said, "Yes, if I can do it in my own way." And so they were desperate, so they said, "Okay, yes, we will allow you." And what his way was often simply just observing all the people in the institution, all the quote unquote crazy people, and looking at their documents, like all the information about them, and then feeling into himself. And then certainly certain feelings would come up. And then what he would do with those feelings, he would sit there and he would simply just, closing his eyes sometimes, he would simply say, "I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you." And not just as I'm just saying the words, but as an energetic process. So the part inside of him that felt sorry for when he looked at those people, for example, he just continued saying to himself, "I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Please forgive me," because he understood that if he can see it in his outside world, it's something inside of him. And he found what resonated inside of him that was his part of that. And he asked for forgiveness. He opened himself up, basically, surrendered it. And then he was able to say, when he noticed the shift, he was able to be grateful for that, noticing the shift inside of him, noticing that he's not anymore holding on to this hatred or this seed that he could also see outside of himself. And so he was able to say thank you, and then eventually, "I love you." And then just going into a state of love and being able to love the other person, but also love himself, right? What happened when he did that for 4 years, from a huge group of people that were stuck there and going crazy, even some people that used to work there were now institutionalized there. After 4 years, there were only still 2 people left there. And he barely spoke to anyone there. He just did it inside of him. He changed it inside of him. And how crazy this might sound, it's incredibly obvious if you look from the energetic perspective of it, and the outside world is a reflection of the inner world, then why not be able to heal these things inside of us? And so it just is an invitation for me as well when I see these painful things being said outside, not just to reflect onto them again and say, "Oh, what a terrible people they are," but to feel first that I'm feeling that, maybe, if I'm feeling like, "Oh, they're so terrible," and then just feeling that inside of me and feeling that until I come to a point where I can just surrender into that feeling, and then I can look at those people and I can see compassion, because they do not know what they do not know. They are just simply reacting out of their programs. That's also not who they want to be. They don't want to spread hatred. If you would ask anyone, "Do you want to spread hatred?" no one will say yes to that.
Yeah. No.
Right?
I don't think so.
But there's people that are expressing that though, and they are showing that hatred, but they're unknowing about it, actually, that is what they're doing. They're simply just reacting on the program that kicks in. Someone gets hurt, that's a good thing. This person should get hurt. Maybe it was the same when you were a little boy or girl in class and someone hurt you, someone pushed you, and then afterwards someone else came up, stood up for you and pushed this guy back. And then it felt right. He pushed him back. Yeah, he deserves that. That's the same seed. That's the same kind of seed that then in your childhood comes back again now when with this assassination. But it isn't the right thing. It is the invitation. The invitation is when a trigger inside of you gets pushed. It's almost like there's all sorts of red buttons we have on our body that says "do not push." Of course someone's going to push it. It's going to happen because it's something that you're resonating. It's in your frequency. It's in your field. This is going to happen. And so someone presses it. Of course it's going to happen. But then in the moment that it is being pressed, instead of saying, "Oh, why are you pressing my button?" No, say, wow. Another trigger's coming up. Time to look into it. What's this? I'm excited. And of course, we're not always excited, but if we can practice that excitement of curiosity, of something inside of me is being triggered, I get to heal something new so that I get to experience a different reality. Yeah, that's the spiritual path, man. That's the way to enlightenment. That's the way to having a more loving world. I 100%
Yeah.
believe that. Do you agree with that as well?
You know, in all fairness, I mean, even apart from the special effect of ayahuasca and how beautiful that can be, because it is beautiful. And I experienced it, and I will still experience it. Apart from that, just the quality and capabilities and possibility of reflecting on situations, on seeing your patterns, on being open, on having the guts and the dare and the will to work for your soul, for your feelings, for everything that's going on here, for every, trigger point that in some way will get activated. If a people would only do that, just that, then oh my God, such a different world it would be. I mean, I notice it with everything, dating also, the common or the standard ground of dating. And overall, people are just dead ass scared of, going into commitments or of, and I'm not saying everyone, when it comes to work or work environments, I mean, I work in an environment where people are very creative, right? Where they always have these high energy, right?
As an actor, yeah.
Yeah, and like especially when it comes to creativity, when it comes to mental mindset, everything like that. When I visit other workplaces from that perspective, and I'm not saying that I'm gonna look down, that I'm looking down on them. I'm not gonna, it's not like that. But I notice such a big difference how people respond there, how they reflect on things, what they are open to, what they're not open to, how conflicted they are within themselves. So there's a lot of work for you to do, brother.
Yeah, I hope I don't have to do it alone, but yeah, no, but it does create that purpose and passion and fire as well inside of me. So I'm, that there's something to do. There's something to do, and I'm happy, because I was very unconscious as a kid. Like we talk about it sometimes. My partner Leia, she was very aware already since she was 3. She decided to become vegetarian. She was having all sorts of deep conversations with her mom already since she was very young. So she kind of, I don't know, she kind of remained in the aware state. I was just a kid playing around and reacting to all sorts of things around me that were happening until my beginning 20s, when I started to do the spiritual work, to do ayahuasca, to get into deeper states of consciousness through meditation and through learning to observe my thoughts. Vipassana, 10 days of meditating, 12 hours per day to just observe whatever is happening inside of you. It's like, you can't imagine. You're just sitting still for 10 days. And I got the most angry that I've ever become. I got so pissed off for the fact that I just needed to sit on a pillow and I couldn't do anything and I couldn't think and wow, what the all the patterns of the mind that come up once you're just creating stillness. It's incredible. You don't even need to get triggered by the outside world. Just sit still on a mountain and you'll get triggered by your own thoughts that are popping up out of the depth of your subconscious.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. It's and that's, but at the same time, it's the most amazing once you then learn how to just be present with that and to move through that and to release that and to let go of that. It's like, oh my God, what a release. And it opens up something inside of you. It makes life more joyful again, because once we let our programs dictate our life, our world becomes smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. It's like, if life was supposed to be a playground, but you take it from the side of your programming, then maybe you once fell off the glide, for example, if you're in a playground, right? Or the swing, you fell off of it, and so you hurt yourself. And now you develop the program. If I'm on a swing, I get hurt. Then you will never get on the swing anymore. And the same happens at one point with the slide, or with another kid you're trying to play, and suddenly they make a wrong move and they suddenly kick you not on purpose, but it just happens, and you're like, oh, other people are very dangerous, I gotta be very careful with other people, and you're building up all these layers of trauma. And at one point, you make your world so incredibly small because of that. But if instead you see all these all these situations that happened in your past, and you just realize, no, there was just something inside of me to learn. And I love this word pronoia, because basically when we're letting our trauma dictate our life, we're becoming more and more paranoia. We're constantly looking outside of us and seeing the possibility of danger everywhere around. That's kind of the concept of paranoia. But then once we understand that all these situations that happened in the past are not because that's how the world is, but simply because they were showing us something or giving us an opportunity to spiritually grow, now we can turn into pronoia, which is the ability to see that everything happens for a reason. Everything is there to teach you something, to show you something in your life. And when you're living from pronoia perspective, life becomes a lot more fun, because now things aren't anymore just negative, but they are just a opportunity to learn. And I can definitely know, because my mom passed away when I was 9. And yes, I could have played the victim role for my entire life, that I couldn't achieve anything and do anything because I lost my mom at such an early age. And therefore I lost a lot of safety and security, not having a mom around, having had so much pain from this period. Because, of course, as a kid, it comes in. All true. All very true. And at the same time, I decided at one point that I'm not going to be a victim of it. I'm going to learn something from it. And suddenly this entire world opened up through ayahuasca, of meeting my mom, speaking with her, and learning actually things from her whilst she was non-physical. Like, she was not in a physical body anymore, right? But I could have a connection with her, which was incredible, because I didn't believe in anything like spirits and ghosts, but it happened, and I felt it, and suddenly I felt so much love, and I had these moments of connecting with her over the last 11 years since that moment, and it has been so incredible, because I learned so much from it, and I got to also heal something inside of me, and now I get to help other people heal things like that themselves. You know, I love to meet someone that has had similar experience in their past, not because they had it, but because I know I've been there, I understand them, and then I can maybe, if they're open for it, help them along the path and along the way of opening that up and healing something inside of there. And that's the fire, man. Let's fucking stand for that in whatever it is that we are doing. You know, it's also in your acting. By choosing specific roles, you can also have that influence by having specific stories portrayed, so that people still understand the hero's journey, that we do go through certain things in our life that are shit, but that if we are strong enough to move through them and learn from them and have compassion and be the hero of our own life, then we can move through that, and we can actually come to a point where we achieve the thing that we want to achieve and help the world at the same time. Aho.
Yeah. I mean, aho. Well, I mean, that's like the highest frequency that you can operate from, right? That at one point you build yourself up towards this position where you're portraying your ambitions, where you're playing with your ambitions, where you're growing, where you're constantly making things, creating things, whatnot, and that the energy around it immediately resolves and resonates and amplifies towards the world itself, right?
Yeah. And Martin,
so you grow and the world grows with you.
Yes, the world, yes. You grow and the world grows with you, indeed.
That's what I noticed, to be honest. That's what I noticed with a lot of things. Otherwise, I wouldn't have, these amazing friends. Well, most of them are amazing. One of them is sometimes a bit stubborn and talks a lot, and it's called Ruben and lives in Germany. But no,
yeah. Oh, now I'm getting triggered. Yo, what are you saying about me? But Martin,
no, I mean,
really, and the reason you're seeing that in your reality is because this is something that I really experience with you, is that even if you have your, as we call them, your martini moments, which are moments where you're, doing something, you're having a certain expectation of the result, and it turns out, in a different way, maybe not the way you wanted it. But then your way of dealing with those kind of situations is incredible. Even if we look at the situation where you had to walk 3 hours around with Jurgen to go to the right place to find the bike or whatever, or even there's situations that I see happening in your life where you're so good at laughing about it. and seeing the humor of it. And I think that's the amazing thing, because the humor and laughing also releases the tension behind something, meaning that if something becomes a trauma, which, for clarification, for me, trauma isn't always something really big, because let's say we have trauma with a small t and a trauma with a capital T, then there's certain moments in our life where something happens and we're like, that didn't happen the way that I wanted. It could be a small trauma if we allow it to dictate our life and we judge ourselves for it, and it becomes this entire thought pattern of negativity about ourselves. We say the wrong thing during a, for example, as an actor, you say the wrong thing during a recording, or when you have what's the name of it? Not a job interview, but you do a
audition.
Yes, if you have an audition and you somehow say the wrong thing, instead of then like, oh my God, I said the wrong thing, now I don't get the job, maybe I'm a bad actor, maybe I should never go in acting, I should probably stop, I should probably just work in a grocery store and I can't do anything, I'm not good enough. It could really go there, and it does go there, and of course I amplify it, but what I see in you is that you're always so good at, you do this funny thing or this crazy thing or whatever, and you kind of just laugh it off. And you stay grounded in the fact that life is a playground, and in the playground you're gonna sometimes fall, but you know what? That's funny too. I just fell, ha ha ha.
Yeah.
And you let it go and you continue playing, and that's why your reality is so open, and that's why you're seeing all of that around you as well.
True, absolutely true, and thank you.
I love you, man. I think that's the essence, and if any takeaway from this, of course, you take away from it what you want, but if any takeaway, then what I would like to spread is to spread more awareness of whatever you're feeling, whatever it is. Also, when you're feeling that it was the right thing that he was killed, the feeling is okay, the thought is okay, don't judge it for having it, just observe where it's coming from. Don't act on it. Don't start speaking it out to other people, because now you're identified fully with the thought and the emotion to the point that you're speaking it out. And the next step to speaking it out is acting on it, and you start doing it yourself. No, let's not go there, but let's fully allow the thought and the feeling, observe where it's coming from, and then to move through it and to see if you can transmute it into love, which there's a lot of different tools to do that. We're not going to go into that during this podcast. But that's what the heart of being human is all about. Really connecting back to this art of the heart and connecting with our hearts again. And that's an entire process where, if anyone is interested of joining an ayahuasca, or if you want to learn more about how to do that, then please just write me or write us somewhere, wherever you listen to this, and Instagram or TikTok or YouTube or whatever. Just write us. And I'm happy to share my insights of how I did that in my life, how I changed these things, and how it made my life so much better. And I'm not enlightened, and I'm not there yet. I'm still feeling the anger. Like I said, I would also have this situation, what Martin said, if my sister would be killed, the first reaction would be anger. But I have developed a certain level of awareness of not reacting to that anger, and to go within first and to solve that first. So that would be my invitation for everyone listening to this. Thank you so very much.
Yeah, beautifully said. I mean, and the whole point of the observing, and adding to that from my own perspective, just try to see yourself when you're in that playground and something hits you. So like this, something hits you, you hit your head there to slide. So in this essence, the thought of someone got killed or whatnot. And then some people or kids are laughing about it, but they're laughing in a way of like, good. Do it one more time. Then think to yourself, do you want to hit your head again? Or would you like to really go off the slide and understand that you can also experience it as a playful experience in ignoring those opinions and seeing what's actually the moving opinion within yourself?
Play. Let's play more. Let's be more curious. Let's be more
Absolutely.
open. Let's have more fun. Let's spread more love and joy and peace. Yeah. That's the essence. Aho. Thank you, brother. Thank you for the short and powerful podcast. And if anyone feels inspired, please do subscribe, do like the podcast if you like it, share a comment, ask questions in the comments, also very welcome. share it with a friend or with someone you think this is important that they hear this message as well. Please do share it with them, because it's time to stand up for love. That's the essence, right? Stand up for love and awareness, peace and presence. It's all red. Love is red. Martin is right now showing his sweater that's red. Love.
I'm standing up for love.
Oh, you're literally standing up. Woo! Bye-bye, everyone. See you guys next week.